Hi, it's time for a mail call video. I've got one box today. It's full of all the same items and they relate to this. So this is a NuTone model IS519 patio station, and these were used with the NuTone IM5006 and the IM5000 systems. And as you can see, if you look carefully on this one's in really bad condition because the overlay, the part that covers all of the buttons here, is completely gone except for this little piece down here that's left. Now when this was new, this was all in Adobe white, sort of a light ivory kind of color. And what happens to these is the panel, the overlay part that goes over all of this, they discolor and become brittle and crack from the UV light and sunlight. And what happens eventually is the little bubbles in it that go over the actual buttons here, these are the actual buttons. When you push these, you can hear the switch click that's on the circuit board behind it. The bubbles crack and eventually fall out. And when enough of them fall out, if this is in a location that it gets wet, gets rained on, then water runs down it. It goes into the openings here around the buttons, and behind this is a circuit board, and then that circuit board gets wet and it corrodes. And if it's in a really bad location and it gets wet for a long time, both boards, there's two boards in here, there's one down in here that's the switchboard and this is the control board on the back. These on the bottom edges get all corroded from being wet, and then the station doesn't work right and it fails, and it's a real problem. It used to be that you could get replacement grill assemblies. You couldn't just buy the overlay, but you could buy the entire grill assembly from NuTone, and you would transplant all of the guts off the customer's unit and you would start all over again. Those have not been available now for probably more than 15 years. And they're just not available any longer. And the problem with new old stock items are outdoor units are always the units that fail first because they're outdoors. They're exposed to the weather and the elements, and those are always the ones that fail first. And you know, on simpler systems you can convert an inside station to a patio station. That's not too hard to do, but on these, because of the overlay, the way it's made and everything, it's not something that you can do because the indoor stations, the button assemblies, the design is entirely different. So they're not at all interchangeable, and you can't convert an inside one to an outside one. It doesn't work. And we have people that need these, and they're really hard to come by because they all end up looking like this. So how does that relate to this? Well, this is actually something, this was not sent in for free. This is something that I actually paid up for, because when you see a deal and you need to get it, you need to get it. So we have an envelope with some screws. Nobody cares about that. We've got some packing material, and we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's a bunch of screws. So they did send all the screws with them that are good. That's good. There's more screws in the bottom of the box. We'll get rid of all this. Throw that down there. So what do we have here? We have 6 used IS519s. And you might wonder, well, after everything I just explained, why would anybody want some used IS519s? Well, these are, we'll just call them special IS519s, and I'll show you why they're special. They're special because they look like that. This is what they looked like when they were brand new. Here's the overlay all intact, and I think you can see how over each button is the bubble in the plastic. So the bubbles on the numbers, bubbles on the volume controls, and the little bubbles on the function switches. And again, if you push these, You can hear the switch go click that's behind it. And the round circular bubble part, that's where it cracks first because the plastic gets brittle from the sunlight, and then you push it with your finger and that causes the bubble to flex and it cracks around the perimeter of the bubble and eventually it falls out. So why are these in such good shape? Because these are used, and these are most likely from, these are, looks like no date code on them. These are probably early 90s, 91, 92, maybe 93, something like that. So why are these all in such good condition? These are all in such good condition because the fella that I got them from, his system, they were all mounted inside the house. Somebody, when they chose to have an IM5000 system installed, chose to use IS519 patio speakers inside the house. These have never been outside. These have all been inside the fellow's house, and he assured me that they all work, and even if they didn't for some reason, they can easily be serviced and made to work again. The circuit boards on the back are just about as pristine as you would ever find, having installed hundreds of these when they were still available new. I know what they look like, and these look really good. These are also, one of the ways you can tell the date of these is right here on the main board, this large rectangular IC. This is a microcontroller, and the early ones use this style of microcontroller, and the later ones use this style of microcontroller. Not only is it in a different place on the board a little bit, but it's also square, not rectangular. The early ones tend to be more trouble-free than the later ones. How shocking is that? But the real goal on this, or the real treasure of this, are the faceplates, because these are about as perfect as you're ever going to find. The only thing you're ever going to find better than this is if you ran across somebody that had, you know, a bunch of new old stock ones in the box on the shelf in the warehouse that have never ever been opened up, and that's a pretty hard thing to ask for nowadays. So these are a treasure, and I just thought I'd show you that, because it's, to come up with one or two is something great, but to come up with actually 6 of them is tremendous. So that's it. That's all I've got for today. We've got a supply of them. I actually have 2 customers that have been waiting for one. One guy, the guy that owns this one, he's been waiting probably, it's been 4 or 5 months since we rebuilt his, I think it was a 5006. And I told him I don't have any way to deal with this at the moment, but if you wait, I will continue to look and see what we can find, and I came up with these. So guess what? He's going to get a phone call today, and we have a replacement one for him if he wants it. I hope you found this interesting, and perhaps for some it will be helpful. If it is, give it a thumbs up on YouTube, because that helps us a little bit. There'll be a banner right here that shows you how to subscribe. Go to our YouTube homepage, click on the bell, and when you click on the bell, click on it to receive all notifications. And every time we post a new video, you'll get a notification and you can watch it. That's all for today. See you on the next video.